you must watch this video if you want to win at property conversations with friends and family this Chinese New Year. Hello there everyone, it's Edward from Property Champs Singapore, and we just ended 2022 with many things happening to the Singapore property market. And even though we just celebrated Christmas not too long ago, we'll be celebrating Chinese New Year soon. So, 恭喜发财!
Yo, hope you get rich!
And because of the restrictions in the past 2 years, we couldn't do much visiting. So I bet that you're gonna visit more friends and families this year. And all the topics during these visits are quite predictable. They usually start off with, how have you been? Do you have a boyfriend or girlfriend yet? When are you getting married? When are you having kids? Where did you go for your year-end trip? And then all these conversations will then move on to stuff like current affairs, weather, whose symptoms were the worst when they fell in the past 2 years. And it will move on to every Singaporean's favorite topic, which is property. And if you are a seasoned property investor and always stay up to date, of course you can keep up with the conversation. But if you don't know, or if you've just started your property journey, you must watch this video if you want to win at property conversations with friends and family this Chinese New Year. Especially if you have someone like your future or current parents-in-law that you want to impress. Because in this video, I'm going to give you a crash course on the important things that happened in the past 365 days that you need to know about. And where is the Singapore property market headed in 2023? So if you like to see more of this type of content, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel to get notified of our new videos. And more importantly, save this video somewhere on your phone just in case you need to refer to it on the way over to your friends or family's house. Firstly, let's talk about HDB. 2022 HDB resale and rental prices were crazily high because there was a supply shortage of ready units and a huge demand caused by many who wanted to live in their own space. And these Singaporeans didn't want to go for BTOs because they were unsure if there will be further delays in the construction time. And they felt more assured to go for ready units. So with a huge demand and a fixed supply, prices naturally climbed up and it surpassed the previous all-time high back in 2013. So now how will the market be like this year? Now the HDB resale prices will still be resilient because there are Singaporeans who are willing to pay higher amounts and they don't want to wait 3 to 5 years just to get their forever home.
2,000 years later.
And prices will still remain steady because there's a limited supply of new resale units entering the market. Based on data collected by PropNext's research team, in 2023, only 15,000 over units will reach their MOP date, compared to last year when 30 over 1,000 units MOP. And in order to prevent prices from spiking, around 23,000 over units of BTOs will be launching this year, with 3 new sites classified under the new PLH scheme. HDB rental will also remain stable this year, but there may be a chance where rents start to drop because many backlog BTOs and new launch condos will complete their construction and will start issuing keys to the owners this year. And this means that these owners who have been renting in the interim will want to move to their new place, which potentially leads to more units up for grab. As there are lesser HDB tenants, there will be those desperate landlords who are willing to drop their asking price to attract the tenants. And if everyone follows suit, rental prices will drop. However, if these HDB rental units are in super central areas or are near popular schools, the landlords can still demand high rental prices because their unit is still in demand. And furthermore, they could even increase the rent to cover the increased costs from higher interest rates and property taxes.
Raise your hand if you want to get rich.
What about HDB resale prices? Now, personally, I feel that HDB resale prices would stagnate with little growth because of the cooling measures introduced in September last year, where the buyer's loan amounts are reduced after the increase in the MSR and LTV. And this also means that these buyers need to come up with more cash for their purchase. And also a new rule was introduced. Private downgraders will have to wait 15 months after selling their home before they are eligible to buy a HDB resale flat. And this would naturally reduce the frequency of million-dollar HDB transactions. An overall good move by the authorities to keep HDB home prices affordable. Another catalyst that will stagnate price growth is the release of 3 new PLH estates this year. And they are essentially BTOs in very popular locations. These affordable prime housing will steal away a huge chunk of HDB buyers. So owners who hope to sell at all-time high prices will now need to reconsider their pricing strategy. However, having said this, HDB flats in very central locations or are very unique and rare like mansionettes can still expect to be transacted over $1 million due to their scarcity. Now that we are done with HDB, let's talk about the private market. More specifically, condos. In 2022, condo prices also shot up because everyone wanted to have a bigger space to live in. And like HDB, rents also went up. So these prices went up because there was a shortage of ready supply caused by slow construction due to lack of manpower and delay in construction. And on top of that, most countries started opening up their borders, so many expats started returning to Singapore, as we are the next best and safest countries to be in Southeast Asia. Now this led to an increase in rental demand, and since there were few new condos launched in 2022, many property buyers FOMOed into whatever they could buy, and it became common to see oversubscription during the new launch preview period. And that's why we are experiencing the lowest number of new condo supply in 15 years. So will this bull run continue in 2023? Now, new condo prices will definitely be higher because their land was sold at higher prices, and now construction materials are higher. And together with higher GST, all these costs will trickle down to the new home buyers.
No! God, please, no! No!
Oh, by the way, let me share with you a little secret. There will be 44 new developments launching this year, and there are quite a few good opportunities out there. And if you want to know what they are, look out for our next few videos. Back on topic, 2023 resale condo prices look to remain steady, and I don't think it will grow as much as 2021 or last year, because around 20,000 units will be added into the supply of ready homes. And here are some of the few notable condos that are going to TOP in 2023 or have already TOP. However, prices won't crash like many hope it will, because you have to remember that many still want to have their own space, and they are not willing to pay high rental prices. And even if they were to sell at a loss or at lower prices, the new TDSR rules would decrease their buying power for the next property. So instead of being homeless, these people would rather hold on to their property. Aside from those who want to stay, there are also investors who are looking to rent out their unit. So only a fraction of these 20,000 units will be up for sale. On top of that, we are expecting even more foreigners like the Chinese who are coming down to Singapore after their borders open up. So all these factors will support the current high prices. And should there be a market crash, I sincerely hope you guys have the funds to buy into the market. Because if it doesn't crash and the market remains resilient and head upwards instead, then like the popular adage goes,
"Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin."
And this reminds me of some of the people who wanted to be property champs, but they didn't listen to our advice. In the end, they ended up getting priced out of the market, and the best part is they actually had the liquidity to get their property of choice.
Game over!
Even though other major cities in the world are experiencing property market crashes due to higher interest rates and recession, our property market is up instead. And that's because our government have added tons of cooling measures over the years to prevent another crash from happening just like in 2008. And if you are looking out for fire sales, there might be some, but these tend to be for the higher end units ranging from $5 to $10 million, because these owners tend to be rich business people looking for liquidity, whether to fund their businesses, their lifestyles, or especially if their other investments are in the red. So if you are someone with this buying power, get your checks ready to grab the unit, because I have seen fire sale units sold within 15 minutes of the announcement. And if you are not ready to react in 5 minutes notice, you don't have to bother looking out for fire sales.
Forget about it.
So how's the private rental market going to be like then? Now, just like HDB, last year private rent surged by a lot and prices climbed up to about $1,000 more, because everyone wanted their own space. There were delays in new condo construction, borders were opening up, and there was a horde of expats leaving Hong Kong. So then, will high rental prices continue staying high in 2023? Now, even though some notable big tech firms are laying off their staff and some MNCs having hiring freezes, we know for a fact that a big Chinese tech firm brought in hundreds of mid to high IT execs into Singapore, and these execs can afford to pay higher condo rents. Also, remember this list of TOP condos that I mentioned earlier? I foresee that competition in these developments will be quite high, and landlords better act fast to secure their tenants before desperate landlords start dropping their rents to be more attractive. And if landlords start to lower their rents as a pricing strategy, do you think that rental prices can still hold as high as before? Now, before I end this video, here's a bonus for you guys. Based on the Fed's December minutes, they agreed that the US Central Bank should slow down the interest rate increase at a cap of 5%. But they mentioned that they are willing to go higher if the high inflation doesn't come back down to 2%. And based on this chart by UOB, it shows that the high inflation is on track to come down. And in case you don't know, the US interest rates affect Singapore interest rates too. So here's an opportunity that many Singapore property investors might not see yet. Now, this chart is also by PromptNext Research, and it shows the correlation between the property price trend and the interest rates. And whenever interest rates decline, prices will go up. So if you can foresee that interest rates will start dropping in 2024 onwards, this year seems to be a good time to buy. And like always, what you buy is very important. And in fact, a good property class to get this year are new launch condos. And here's why. Now, even though you might be paying high interest rates right now, this amount payable is based on the progressive payment, just like here on this table. And the monthly loan amount is based on around 10 to 20% in the first year. So in cash terms, this is just a few $100s a month. So by the time you progress down the table in another 1 to 2 years, this high interest rate environment should be over. And this is one of the reasons why many investors love to get new launch condos. And based on the current upcoming private property supply, the next supply shortage will be somewhere in 2025 to 2026. And just like in 2021, we all know what happened to property prices back then. So now that you know all of this, you're pretty much ready to win at property conversations in Chinese New Year. And hopefully you can use all this info I shared earlier to stand out from all the guests. And of course, if you know someone else who needs a win this Chinese New Year, do share this video with them too. And if you enjoyed this type of content, remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. As always, I'm Edward, empowering you to be property champs.